Hello guys, how are you today? Wow, you guys are very excited. I hope you are very well so we can learn together. Today, we will learn about the element of fiction. I think all of you know about the element of fiction, right? Okay, without further ado, let's discuss it. The fictional elements are intrinsic elements that exist in the story such as themes, settings, characters, and conflict in the story. Okay, let's start with the first thing. Theme. The theme is a main idea of the story. The theme is the central, dominant, or underlying idea that ties the plot, conflict, character, and setting together into a meaningful whole. The theme should also apply to all of the major characters and events in the story. But the theme can be a statement that author can want to convey about the life or society in the story, because the theme is present the author review or viewpoint about the particular subject in the story. The second is setting. You know about this, or all of this. Okay, this is setting. Why? Because setting is where and when during which the story takes place. Setting is more important in some works than in others. In some story, the writer or the author no particular time to set the time or place is specified, but sometimes when the writer wants to make the story or event in the story more easy to help the reader imagine the story, they will add the setting. Until here, are you have a question about the theme and setting? The next page. Okay, the plot. Plot is what happened in the story with the series of events. Usually we know about introduction, rising action, the climax, the falling action, and in the final part of the story is resolution or denouncement. Introduction is present information about the characters with their background, their goals and limitations. This information helps the reader to understand the situation about the story. The rising action is when the struggle or the conflict come to the characters and how they can fight with the conflict. The climax is the point of the greatest attention of conflict. This part is important in the story. When we read the story, the climax is in the middle or in the end of the story, because some stories doesn't have failing action or resolution, and the story end at the climax. And these stories have to open plot since the resolution is not explicitly presented. But you must know about the failing action and the resolution. The failing action is how to the climax is going down into the resolution, and the resolution is the end of the story. Usually when we read some book about happy ending, conflict is dramatical struggle between the opposite force or point of view in the story. Without conflict, there are no plot. So we need conflict, not just in our life, but in this case, when we learn to find the element of fiction, you must have a conflict. The conflict is clash between the protagonist and the antagonist. The protagonist is principal characters, and the antagonist someone or something present in opposite of the protagonist. Sometimes when we read the book or some book, we can find the antagonist easily because they are identified as a villain, more often simply represent as a conflicting point of view. Sometimes the antagonist is not a character, but they can be situation like war, poverty, or natural disaster such as flood or storm, and sometimes the antagonist is the challenge that protagonist doing. Okay, the next is characters. The characters is a fictional representation of a person usually in the story. We can find a character with three ways. The first is major or minor. The character who dominate the story is the major character. The character that plays a little role in the story is the minor character. And usually the first or the main character is the major. Okay, the second is simple or flat. The characters such as a princess or prince in the folktale are barely developed as or have a stereotypical, like easy to characterize by some sentence like the princess always beautiful, she is kind, and prince usually handsome and brave. The third is complex and round. In this case, the character have a many realistic traits and they are relative fully developed by the author. The complex characters are more complicated. They have complex and difficult to understanding as individual in the story. Okay, I think maybe in this is what we learned for today. If you have question, you can ask through our group WhatsApp. So for today assignment, please form groups of three or five, 3 until 5% to find light reading books like short stories, comic, or if you have a novel, you can use it. You can submit your work in the end of this week, and we will have presentation in the next meeting. Thank you guys for your attention and see you